that I'll mention is that before we got the grant and knew we were going to be doing this, one of the community colleges in Washington State had won a major national award for being one of the best community colleges in the country, and I was planning to do a story about that as a larger story about the community college system in Washington State, which really was going to look at some of its deficits, and this was going to be a sidebar to a larger story. And we, once we got the grant, and I hadn't written the story yet, we thought, well, maybe this is a totally different kind of story from what we were talking about. Maybe we're not going to be writing about the deficits, but we're really going to be spending more time writing about what it is at this community college that really, how they've turned things around in much greater detail. And so it's a bit of a challenge because this community college is on the other side of the state. It's a 5-hour drive, and I had done all my reporting in May, and now I'm going back and trying to think about what I still need to make this a solution story. Originally, this story was just going to write about the many different things that they've done well, but now that it's a solution story, I feel like I need to drill down into some really specific things that they've done well that are not being done elsewhere in the state, and talk very specifically about how those things came about, what the history was, why they started trying to tackle a specific problem, and what were the elements that came into play that allowed them to tackle that problem. So it's just getting much more specific about what they did and how they were able to solve a problem that a lot of other community colleges have not been able to solve yet. I think it's helpful to drill down a little bit more, for this particular story anyway, a little bit more into the history of, okay, why did you think this was a problem? And what was the, I don't know, I'm interested in when people meet in a room and say, hey, you know what, we have a really big problem here. We need to put some money into it. We need to figure out what the elements are that will change this problem. And I think that, and people love talking stories, they love talking histories, and I think I'm trying to do more of this and going back to this particular case and saying, okay, what was the moment when the light bulb went off in your head and you said, here's something we have to fix, and then what happened next? What did you do next, and why did that work? So I think that finding that aha moment is a very important thing to kind of drill down and really see how that played out. Because we're looking at solutions beyond our own backyard, I feel like that's really freeing for me to think about things that happen elsewhere. Because regional newspapers, they're really, our coverage is kind of siloed. If it's not happening in our backyard, we're really not going to do a story about it in almost any case. So regional newspapers really are so regionally focused, it means that we almost never take something that's happening elsewhere and write about it in the context of our state unless there's some talk of actually bringing that program here. That permission to go outside of our area and look for solutions I thought it was really powerful.